When I was a kid, I saw ghosts. I saw them everywhere, and they never looked like full-bodied apparitions that like moved. They always looked like I'd see them out of the corner of my eye. It would kind of look like a photograph. And sometimes the ghosts I saw would be real. One time I was at a family friend's house and I saw a flash of a lady in purple. And I told the family friend's mom, and she said, "Oh, that was my aunt. She died recently and she was always wearing purple." And when I was a really, really young kid, really young, I was in my room, I was in my crib. My mom heard me from the room going, "Annie, Annie, Annie." And she saw a bright flash of light come from under the door in the little crack. And it was weird because like my room wasn't facing the street or anything. It was facing the backyard. And she ran in and she was like, "What's going on? Who are you talking to?" And I was like, "Oh, my friend Annie." And she was like, "Okay." We were sitting on the couch for a while after that. And then she said later somebody came to the door. My dad answered it and there was this lady and she was like, "Oh, sorry, I was just in the neighborhood. I used to live here with my family, my mom and my sister, Annabelle." It's always a creepy story to tell. That house we lived in was haunted. The most common haunting we experienced was the faucets in the basement would always turn themselves on. I don't know if ghosts are real, like in this ancient way we think of them as souls without bodies. I don't know if that's real. I think I don't want to believe that because it scares me. The idea of consciousness existing as it does right now, like the way you and me are experiencing it right now, but without a physical body, is really terrifying and existential. Imagining if you were trying to grab something but you didn't have anything to grab it with is really scary. I think consciousness is so tied to our physical bodies, and we aren't our bodies and we aren't our brains, but I don't think we know how to exist without them, and maybe that's why ghosts are so angry. If ghosts were able to be captured by photographs, I feel like they'd be all over Google Street View. And they are, in a way. If you go back and you look, you can see your dead grandparents taking in the trash at their old house. There's like a bunch of Twitter threads about that, about people going back and seeing their dead dog or their family, the tree that they cut down in front of their old house on Google Street View. We've created ghosts on the internet. You could go look at your dead grandparents' Facebook page and that's a ghost. You could see a copy of their brain embedded into the internet like a burnt screen. The digital landscape is full of ghosts. It's so surreal and uncanny. There's like disembodied voices and anonymous identities. It's such a haunted house. Bots are like ghosts, like AI bots that recently kind of a hot topic, because if you go on Facebook for longer than 5 minutes and go into like one comment section, you'll see it's just full of bots. And there's so many posts from bots of AI generated images. Like they've really taken over, and they're like ghosts, but not quite. I think they're closer to the Christian myth of demons than they are ghosts because they're not human. They're like a simulacrum of a human, just kind of how like demons are said to manifest themselves as images of humans sometimes. And it's interesting also because demons kind of have that stereotype of appearing as a young girl or a very old person, an old lady, and a lot of AI generated content that is used to like engagement farm is of like kids or old people. And like you've all seen that. It's like the image of the old person with like a cake, and it's like she has a sign and she's like, "Today is my 90th birthday and I'm all alone. Please like this post." That's a demon, right? It's so weird. And bots and AI are like the internet just continuing to kill and reincarnate itself and kill and zombify itself just over and over and over again. It's just moving farther and farther away from soul and spirit and into the inhuman. At one point when AI was coming out, I was thinking of it as the internet dreaming. It was dreaming of what it had seen and what it's been programmed and learned on. And I was thinking, if I was a computer, I think it would hurt to AI generate an image. I think it might feel violating. It might feel like something was being pulled out of me. And then the image is always a little bit disjointed and weird. It doesn't feel natural for a computer to generate content like that. A smart home is kind of a haunted house. If you think about it, like the lights turn on and off by themselves, and doors open and close, and ovens turn on, and something is listening and answers when you call its name. Say, hey Google Home, hey Siri, and it answers. And when the smart homes like glitch and the AI speaks when it's not commanded to, or the lights flicker on and off, it would feel as eerie as a haunting. And what's the difference between Siri and a poltergeist? They both do the same thing. Paranormal Activity, which is like 20 years old now, even then knew the gothic horror of a smart home. The cameras are there to like film the movie, and at the time was like a very cheap, convenient option, but they also act as the POV of the ghost in the movie. I think you understand that when you're watching the movie. You know that the cameras are the demon. You're watching it through the demon's POV. And smart home, the other thing is like smart homes can't exist without bodies. Haunted houses can't exist without bodies. Those are both true. Like somebody had to die, usually a very torturous death, in order to haunt a home. There's never like a good home haunting, at least not in movies or myth or the way we really consume that. And smart homes don't exist without bodies, and they don't exist without labor specifically, and usually underpaid, overworked labor in countries that have less labor laws than the country that the idea was conceived in. So smart houses can't exist without the torture of bodies. Just like a ghost wouldn't haunt a home if it hadn't been tortured in its body. And in both situations, we don't see the body that caused the haunting. And we also don't ask to see it. Going back to ghosts that exist in the digital landscape, at one point it was theorized that most of the internet at some point will be filled with accounts and posts from dead people. I think now it's probably AI and bots that would fill the internet. But when I first saw the term dead internet theory, that's what I thought it was talking about. I thought it was talking about how posts are made by dead people now. I think about what my internet ghost will look like when I die. Sometimes I ask my friends what their posts would look like when I die, like what they're gonna post about me. Like, I'm like, would it be an Instagram story or would it be a feed post? And that is so morbid to ask them. And they get a little bit mad because they don't want to think about their friends dying. But I want to know. I want to know what picture they would use. I want to know what they would put over the picture. I want to know what they would say. Like, that's a funeral in itself. That's my internet funeral. And what would like the comments look like too? I want to know that also. And they said like, oh, I don't know if I'd make a whole post for it. Like, I don't know, it feels kind of insensitive, but I would want them to. The internet is so important to me. And I feel like I've created such a house on it that there has to be a grave there too. And I'd love to see it. I don't know how good it is that I would love to see it, but I would love to see it.